Now, we're going to head to New York to talk to senior editor Les Hsu of Digital Trends, who is joined by the CEO of Indiegogo, David Mandelbrot, to talk about Indiegogo, what they're doing, what the future of crowdfunding is, and how everything is really exciting in that world. Hello, New York.
Hey, thanks, Greg. So I'm here with Dave from Indiegogo. Thanks for coming in. You just came in from San Francisco. But before we jump into all things crowdfunding, can you tell us a little bit about kind of your background and what you do as CEO at Indiegogo?
Sure. So first of all, Les, thanks a lot for having me. Yes, I'm the CEO of Indiegogo. I've actually been at Indiegogo for a little over 5 years, and I've been CEO for almost 3 years. As CEO, I oversee both company strategy and operations. I'm making sure that we've got a good vision for what it is that we're trying to do, that we're clearly communicating that vision to our employees and the world, and then really making sure that we're executing on that vision.
So since you started in 2016, that's when you became CEO, can you talk a little bit about some of the changes that you have made at Indiegogo, and maybe also talk a little bit about what has changed in crowdfunding since you took over?
Yeah, so Les, the biggest thing that's changed in crowdfunding since I took over is, when I became CEO, there were largely 3 companies that were focused on the crowdfunding space. One was GoFundMe, one was Kickstarter, and one was Indiegogo. Indiegogo pioneered crowdfunding. We were the first of those 3 crowdfunding platforms. The big change that's happened is that each company has started to really establish its sort of specialty. With GoFundMe, GoFundMe's got a real focus on personal cause and nonprofit fundraising. Kickstarter is really focused on the creative community, things like video makers and musicians, and tabletop game makers is very popular. Indiegogo, starting in 2016, became hyper-focused on product entrepreneurs and really helping product entrepreneurs get all the way from an idea in their head to a product in the market. And we really support those entrepreneurs by helping them go direct to consumers on our platform.
And I think one of the ways I read that you're doing that is also you have a storefront, and the successful campaigns can actually sell their products through Indiegogo. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we launched a little over a year ago. We launched the Indiegogo Marketplace, where now even if it used to be that you could just use Indiegogo if you were running a crowdfunding campaign. But now we actually have solutions for entrepreneurs all the way through the life cycle. So even before you launch a crowdfunding campaign, we have something called pre-launch to help you build up your email list and get early customer interest in your product. We offer the crowdfunding campaign. We then have a product called In Demand, where you can keep raising money for your project even after your crowdfunding campaign is over. And we launched Marketplace, where if you're shipping product, you can actually sell those products on Indiegogo. And for those products, Indiegogo actually guarantees for the backer that they will receive that product.
Was that one of the issues? You have this campaign that has a wildly successful product, and they get millions of dollars. Is it? And then they're like, oh my God, what do we do with all this money? So is that the problem that you see, that they actually didn't have the support? Getting money is one thing, but it's like, what do you do with that money afterwards?
Yeah, it's interesting. For a while, there were actually metrics that suggested that the more money you raised, in a lot of ways, the harder it would be to deliver your product, because it's harder to develop a product at large scale in some ways than it is on a smaller scale. What Indiegogo did starting a little bit after I became CEO in 2016 is we started partnering with companies that could help the entrepreneurs on our platform ultimately ship their products. So, for example, we formed a partnership with Arrow Electronics. Arrow is one of the largest distributors of electronic components here in the US. Arrow will review the bill of materials for the entrepreneur, make sure that none of the components in their product are end of life cycle, and help the entrepreneur ensure that they'll be able to actually ship the product that they intend to ship.
So I think one of the things that we've seen is that a lot of these crowdfunding failures, I think rub people the wrong way, and maybe there's a perception that a lot of these projects on Indiegogo or Kickstarter or what have you are kind of like scam, and I think you've noticed this issue too. So my question is, what are you doing to address that issue? what are you doing to sort of build customer trust? When they back a product, you know what, we've got you.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing I should point out is that very, very few of the projects on Indiegogo are actual scams. Less than 1% of the projects are people that are actually claiming that they're going to deliver a manufacturer product that they're not ultimately going to deliver. It's less than 1% of the projects on Indiegogo, and we have a trust and safety team that is world class at identifying those projects and removing them from the platform. The much bigger issue that product entrepreneurs face, as I alluded to earlier, is that they raise money for their project and then they may not have expertise in manufacturing, or they may not have expertise in logistics, and so they run into challenges in actually manufacturing and delivering that product. So what Indiegogo has done is that we've partnered with companies like Aero Electronics for manufacturing, companies like Ingram Micro for shipping, to help entrepreneurs at each stage of their journey to make sure that they can ship products. We've also, as I mentioned, we launched our marketplace products. So for more and more products on Indiegogo, backers can be guaranteed that they'll either get that product or they'll get their money back.
Sorry, Dave. This is the problem with live broadcasting. I think there's something wrong with your mic. I think your sweater might be causing some. Yeah.
Okay. Is that
All right.
better?
I think that's better.
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Well, you know, so it is live, folks. So let's talk about some of your favorite campaigns on Indiegogo right now. What are some of the cool products that maybe people should check out?
Oh yeah, there's so many. I don't know where to start. I'll just highlight a few quick ones. One is Mate X. Mate's created the latest generation of electric bicycles. They've created a beautiful electric bicycle. This is actually their second campaign on Indiegogo, but it's been the most successful crowdfunding campaign on any platform for the last 2 years. It's less than $1,000, and it is a world-class electric bike from a wonderful female entrepreneur founder from Denmark, actually. The second one that I think is really interesting is a product called the Hydro. It's a rowing machine, an exercise rowing machine, but one that allows you to connect to have a real world experience. So you've got a screen where you can see yourself rowing out in nature and in other locations, and row along with other people that are using the Hydro at the same time. And then we've had recently one that I personally like is the Cosmo Communicator, which is from one of our entrepreneurs coming from China who've developed a device that's sort of like in a way it's a combination of a phone and a very small laptop. Actually, it opens up and it has a decent sized keyboard, and you can put your SIM card in it and use it like a regular phone, but also type on it like a laptop.
That's really cool. So do you have an all-time favorite Indiegogo product?
Yeah, I do. My all-time favorite is a product called the Flow Hive. It was a father and son team from Australia, and they developed a better beehive. And what was interesting is that you wouldn't even know that there were so many people so interested in beehives, but there's a large beekeeping community all over the world, and they were hoping to raise $50,000 for their beehive, and they raised over $12 million for their beehive. And I liked it because the bee population was in decline, and because of that beehive now that there'll be more bees as more people are cultivating honey in their own homes thanks to Indiegogo.
Cool. Now I know you got a busy New York schedule while you're in town for a couple days, but before you leave, I want to ask you what's ahead for Indiegogo in 2019 and beyond. What's ahead you see for crowdfunding? We were just talking about CES just now. So what do you have going on?
Yeah, so we got a bunch of big things going on. First of all, Indiegogo attends CES every year. We don't just attend, but we have essentially the central booth inside Eureka Park at the show. There are now hundreds of entrepreneurs that have launched their products on Indiegogo to go direct to consumer. That actually there's tens of thousands worldwide, but there's hundreds that actually attend CES. Most of those are in Eureka Park, where the earliest stage entrepreneurs are. So Indiegogo will continue to have a big presence at Eureka Park. And then, excuse me, you'll continue to see Indiegogo doing more to ensure that backers are ultimately getting the products that they fund on Indiegogo. You'll see more products with guaranteed fulfillment. You'll see us establishing more partnerships to help ensure that the entrepreneurs are successful. And you'll see even more enterprises using Indiegogo, large-scale companies using Indiegogo to launch new products and connect directly with consumers. Just last quarter, both Lego and Gillette actually launched new products on Indiegogo as a way to really connect with their audience and demonstrate the innovations that even large companies are doing.
That's cool. As a big Lego fan myself, I'm really looking forward to that. One of our favorite companies, and we're definitely going to be at CES, so we'll definitely stop by again to check in and catch up with you there.
Fantastic. We'll be
Awesome.
happy to have you, Les.
Thanks so much for coming in, Dave.
Okay, thank you for having me.